afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to QuickBooks Labs, the one and only QuickBooks podcast, and therefore the best podcast in the UK relating to QuickBooks itself. Each and every month we go live around this same time to go around these microphones to talk about all of the world of QuickBooks and what you should know about, and tell you about the latest news, tips, tricks, and everything else in the world of QuickBooks. And boy, thankfully, finally at the 11th hour, we actually have something to talk about, because it was going to be a short show at some point. With me, as always, are my guests or co-hosts, or whatever we want to call them. We'll start with Simon. Simon, talk to people. Like, who are you? Where are you from? Why you like QuickBooks?
Okay. Why do I like QuickBooks? Okay, I'm Simon. I am the software advisory manager at Wilkins & Smith, which are a top 10 firm in the UK. I look after all of our software projects, advise them, clients, and all that sort of thing. And yeah, we are on the QuickBooks Accounting Council like everyone else here.
Yeah, and interesting times for software at the moment, isn't it? Interesting times.
Very interesting times, especially post or during DAS, post DAS. We should probably talk about that, but if we're allowed. But
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we should probably discuss that anyway. But yeah, that's
definitely.
me.
100%. Jan, tell people who you are, where you're from, and why you love QuickBooks.
Hello, Johan Gori, Group Managing Director of On Point Accounting. We've been using QuickBooks for 4 or 5 years now, 5 or 6 years, something like that. And yeah, we love that. It's the ideal solution for our clients at the best of times.
It is. Right, let's go straight into some of this news that we've got, because as I said, at one point we didn't have anything to talk about. Now we've got lots to talk about. Let's start with a exciting update over in the world of work papers. Yeah, and I think you've got a nice little screen to share with us, haven't we? I'm really excited about this. This is one of those ones where I've been excited about talking about this update for a while. So, Jan, do you want to share screen, and we can go and see exactly what we have in the world of work papers and been updated? Now, first of all, doesn't that look like a much more slicker interface? Go for it, Jan. What do you see in front of you?
So we've still got the key functionality here, right, for working papers that I loved, which was the team member ticks as it's prepared, someone else ticks to say it's approved, and you've got different colors there to identify that. So I like that. Got the ability to link our docs and links still here, so we can click on here, add a link, might go to your URL, or you can click on here, add a link, and manage your docs and stuff from here. So all good stuff. And yeah, so that's all kind of the same. It's just cleaner. And we've now not got, how many different tabs did we have doing the same bleeding thing? 5 tabs doing the same thing. We've now got review and adjust all in one screen. You've got your profit and loss and your balance sheet. You've got 2024, 2023, percentage of changes. We can make our adjusting journals still. I just think it's a nicer, cleaner user interface. Somewhat like the new modern reporting interface, you might say. And I like that. So yeah, so we've still got all the same good stuff here. It's just cleaner, easier to use. And then we've got our annual accounts and then our tax mapping as well. We've got all the stuff at the top for the financial years, etc. It's pulling through the financial year appropriately to the settings. So yeah, I don't think it's given us any extra functionality. I think it's just a much cleaner user interface, which I'm very happy with.
Well, I know they're building it, or this new update is to add functionality later down the line. So we will see some functionality being added quicker and easier. But if you press that customize button for me, one of the nice options we have now is we can go into trial balance mode and see it from there. I'm not 100% sure I like the trial balance mode, but it's there for people who do. And
would also, if you calling it the old school look, like
I was about to say it's very old school. I can call it old school.
Like, what accountants and bookkeepers still work by trial balance when they've been in software for the last 7 years? Like, I look at my balance sheet and I look at my profit and loss. I don't look at a TB with it all in one go. I find it easier to look at 2 reports, personally. So that will not be used in my circle.
But if you do put it back on, though, you do get the option to, and I get really confused about this, and I'm struggling to see if I can see it on your screen, but you don't have the option to bring 2000 or the brought forward figures in. So you go customize.
Yeah, so ending balance. I don't know if I've got brought forward here because it's a relatively new demo account.
Yeah, yeah. But it is bringing that brought forward figures through.
Yeah, it's got the ending balance, bringing beginning balances, ending balance, etc. is all there.
Yeah. So, I mean, the beginning balance is new, right? Like we've been begging for the option to bring that through. If you ever needed to do open balances before, the idea that you can't run a trial balance and bring it forward was always a bit random anyway. So we've got that figure. That's coming through from there. The option to do that.
You can reorder those columns, right? They're in the wrong order, right?
Yeah, we can. They are definitely in the wrong order. Yeah, you can move them up and down using a little what you call it button at the top.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, like the order you should expect.
And just humour me, but when I looked as well in that customize, and it says 2 years in that drop down box, another option.
I think
right?
we'd have more options if I had more data.
Dad, no, I've had clients with lots more data.
Maybe that's coming.
Why would you need more? I suppose it's maybe that's functional.
4-year trends, 5-year trends.
But would you be doing them here, or would you be doing them in a reporting app? Probably a reporting app.
Oh yeah.
It's supposed to be working papers, right? But I'm with you. I think the profit and loss is where it's balance sheet and profit and loss. Because also, if you put it to trial balance, aren't you just asking to do far more work that way? Because you're basically inviting yourself to do every single transaction there. Where for me, every item on the balance sheet gets looked at, and we tick it and we move on.
Yeah.
And the profit and loss, it's just trying to find maybe errors or things that look out of place. We wouldn't go and tick every single one of the profit and loss items. So it is from there.
Yeah, like if you've got a problem with your last year's balances, make sure they agree more than anything else, probably.
Yeah, 100%. But what do you think though? Like overall, the idea of getting it so that it's now into we got rid of 5 of I've gone from 5 different columns to 4 for each, should I say. Are we happy about that change? Is there any functionality that you think's you're going to be upset about losing?
Nope. I know you're upset, but I'm not.
Like I'm on the fence because I don't use it. So
I'm very pleased that QuickBooks asked me my opinion, and I got to tell them to ignore all the old people that are still using spreadsheets and want this to be a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Like, I know Aaron wants a list of all his documents in a separate tab, but you don't need it. You just click on here, manage your docs and links, you upload. Let's go to a photo, upload my receipts for this case. It's loading. You can't see it, but
sorry, bring you back in.
Oh, right, there you go. So yeah, I've uploaded my document there. I can see there's a document there. I can manage that. Like, I don't see why that needs to be on a separate tab.
Can I ask a stupid question? And this might be if you've got those, as I don't use this, but if you've already got things posted to buildings in QBO and it's got attachments, are they pulled through into there already automatically?
No.
And there's an improvement that needs to happen then.
Not only that, but any of the reconciliation work you do hasn't been brought through either. So there's the feedbacks we've been passing to.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you wouldn't want every single. So if I went into my
balance sheet, I don't want to see
my advertisement. Do I want every single receipt pulling through to my advertising working papers?
No, but that's probably where improvements can be made. Say, actually, I want to see receipts over a certain value.
Yeah. But would QuickBooks require you to put it through their tool for that to work?
Yeah.
I suppose the argument is the fact that realistically we shouldn't be putting receipts there. What we should be doing is supporting documents as in something else, right? Like a revaluation adjustment or whatever it's going to be. That's what it's designed to do. Yeah. That's what that's supposed to be. And that's why then the tick box is there to say, right, I've ticked the box so that supporting documents there and we can move on. The only thing I feel like we're missing, just kind of talking about what it is that's been taken away from us. Year-end tasks, that's gone. That I don't think anyone's going to worry about that, right? Like,
That's all in your practice management tool, surely.
yeah. Like the idea of having it there was nice to have it, but it was probably not being used because people had functionality elsewhere and probably lives better elsewhere. So I have no problem with the year-end task going. The idea, and I'll just share my screen as to what it currently looks like, or what it, the old way of doing it. The idea of having this documents area, in my mind, and when I was talking to kind of when it was first in inception and everything else, the idea was that the documents area is designed to be a place where you're taken away from what the figures already are. It's almost like you're providing those supporting documents without knowing what the end result's going to be. So think about it, if you've got more of a team environment, you maybe have a junior member of staff who's putting those supporting documents in. The idea of having this extra tab and this tab here called documents itself was that you have all your same transactions, your same chart of accounts, but you don't know what the end result is. So you're kind of saying, right, my PAYE account, here's my supporting document, and here's £2,000 we owe HMRC at this point in time. And the idea was you move to the review and adjust, and then you compare what your supporting document was compared to what was actually in QuickBooks. I don't think it's a big deal that it's gone, but that's what it was designed to be in the first place. Do you think that was a worthwhile inception at the beginning, or do you think we don't ever need it to come back?
This, I think the new way is more in line with I've not done a set of accounts in 10 years, but from what I've used past, things like Caseware and stuff like that, this is very similar to Caseware.
Yeah.
In that you have that line and you're attaching things to that rather than a document base. It makes much more sense that way.
Yeah.
Because when you're doing the account, you're looking at the figures anyway. You're not going to just go in and just randomly upload a load of documents first. It
seems to be counterproductive, right? If you're going to do that, definitely you're not going to get much more efficiencies that way, are you?
Most people would already have saved it somewhere else on their document management system, or it'd be on, in our case, it'd be on SharePoint somewhere in a folder called 2024 accounts. There's all my stuff that I need. I'm not going to resave it somewhere else.
Yeah, agreed. It is. Yeah, I don't think it's the end of the world, but that's one of the functionalities that was gone. Grouping and statements disappeared. The only nice thing about grouping and statements, and I'll just bring my screen back up, was the fact that we could move things around. So prime example of where this can be useful, I would always create a director's loan account as a bank account, just because it makes it so much easier to kind of work with, or cash account, whatever you want to call it. And then you could pick it up and say, actually, no, I shouldn't have had that director's loan account there. And you could then move it to creditors, debtors, or whatever you want to do it, right? That's the only thing we're missing there.
So how does that work now? You can't move things around at all.
No, if you and adjust as I go, if Johan shows you now, nothing we can
do. There's no drag and drop. It is just in the order in which your P&L and your balance sheet would be on a P&L and balance sheet report. So I can't say I'm overly worried about that.
Just got to remember, haven't you? And
yeah, because technically your direct loan account sat in cash and bank at hand. Technically, it's a technicality, isn't it?
Yeah. So
it's probably something you'd map anyway going into your account software anyway.
Yeah,
definitely. But don't you think this is more trainer friendly as well? You've got a new member of staff come through. This is so much easier to just tell them what to do. Get them on board with what they want to do. You've got your tick box on the left. You've got an opportunity to attach. Our recommendation,
confusing matters by having so many different tabs doing practically the same thing. So which tab should I have been in to do this? Should I have done that type thing?
Yeah. The one thing I'd recommend, though, to people who are starting to use this for the first time is really think about that whole idea of, and I'll just share screen and show you on mine, about that linking of the file. Linking of attaching a link as opposed to a file, especially in a transaction here, for example, where if I view the link, I'm putting in a copy of my working papers there that I can then edit at any point. One of the things that people get frustrated about if they just upload and download their Excel document, for example, if that's what their working paper is going to be, is then that every time they want to make an update, they have to download it, delete it, bring it back up again, and everything else. Using links can make your life so much easier. So if you've got a really like something like accruals or something where you're going to go in there, you're going to make changes to it, it's going to be a living document, right? And you're going to be updating it as you go along. Definitely think about using links to Google Drive or OneDrive or Teams or whatever solution you're using, and bring your working papers in here. It's just going to make your life so much easier. And that's where that link feature can be really, really useful. So you've got a choice. And Simon, as you've never used either of them, do you like option A on the screen now or option B?
Option B. I'm a less buttons is better when QuickBooks does have a problem with about 20 buttons doing the same thing.
Yeah. Far happier with this.
Yeah,
agreed.
And you're not upset the fact that you can't now save your accounts in there, which is the only other thing that document page gave us, was a little area where I could save a copy of my accounts.
No, so because that's not where I set that. That's what I've got tax calc or any other account production software on the market, and I've got Client Engager or any other practice management tool on the market to store that. Like that's my central hub. Like at this point, I'm editing each balance.
Yeah,
and then I take that summary of that information, which is the working papers or the trial balance. I put that into my accounts production, which then produces my accounts and my taxes. Then I take those two documents, I put them into my client practice management tool and send it for e-signing. And then if the client goes to us, oh, how did you get to that balance? We can go, let's go into our working papers and have a look. And here's all the evidence. So I don't think we needed to go all the way back. I think you're over duplicating the same data.
So counter to why I liked it there and what the reason was we implemented it was, you're the reviewer. Do you want to be having to jump between different pieces of software to, what's the danger that you are, looking at the most up-to-date one?
So have you got enough review stages is the question then. So my team review working papers.
Yeah.
Which gives us our trial balance.
Yep.
So there's a review. Once working papers is done, we've got a review.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not right at that point, then it doesn't get past review and we go back to working papers. Once we've reviewed that and we're happy with that, we've got the trial balance. Then I take my trial balance, put it into my accounts production. We generate a set of accounts. There's a review stage there to review the set of accounts using the trial balance that I already know is right because I've done the review. If in production we realize there's an error, then we just go back to the working papers. We don't do all the work and then review at the end to go, well, there's mistakes all over this. We just go, review this bit, that's fine. Review that bit, that's probably going to take less time to review because we've already reviewed all the bits up to the trial balance.
Yeah.
Go on, pick fault with my efficiency. Go on.
Well, if anything, I think that's less efficient, right? Because you're then having to review things twice. But yeah, I suppose you've got that protection then that you're not having to waste the reviewer's time on that second one, isn't it? So it's
like the chances of you spotting an error at accounts production in the trial balance, like that review of the work of the accounts should be, are the notes right? Have we made all the declarations we should make? Are we happy that the credits and debits are in the right places for the liabilities and stuff? Like we're looking at the mapping of the data, and the declarations with that. What the detail behind that data should already be signed off as correct by that point. Otherwise, it should never go into the accounts production tool, in my view.
Yeah, there's logic, isn't there? It's just, okay. I can see the benefit. Right. Okay, cool. So work papers, big thumbs up. We're liking that one. There was another update that's been rolled out. Simon, apparently the roles are all changing, aren't they? What's happening?
Yeah, they've updated this, changed the standard roles in QuickBooks Online. You say they've changed, they've just renamed them.
I'm going to
There's
read.
a tiny bit of functionality, isn't there?
There's an extra bit. I think they've just made it make more sense. So they're changing like the customers only role. They're renaming it to accounts receivable manager, which makes sense. That is what you're doing. But they're giving you access to the bank deposits against customers, which makes perfect sense. It's a bit hard to be an accounts receivable manager if you can't mark things as being paid. And likewise, similar on the accounts payable side. But a bit more on the accounts payable side is that if for users of, here we go. So we've got limited. So is it limited? Standard limited customers only is the ones that they're. That's the first one they're changing. So it says it will change to accounts receivable manager, and then the one below that is going to change to accounts payable manager. But within QuickBooks Online Advanced for things, so the suppliers one, where they have workflows in advanced. You can then select that user role as the approver for bills. So rather than saying go to this user, you can just say anyone that is the accounts payable manager role. It will go to that as a group rather than individual users. And then the standard limited customer and supplier role, which is just below there, is going completely. As is the standard no access role, will be disappearing as well, which is at the top.
Oh, it is.
Because that one was just to use timesheets, which I think you've got a timesheets user anyway. So it's getting rid of some of that duplication, which we all hated anyway. And then the one that the interesting one, standard all access without payroll, which I don't know if you've got in your list there.
No, maybe because I haven't turned payroll on this one. But
yeah, they haven't got payroll. That's going to be renamed the in-house accountant, which is interesting.
Yes.
Because most of the time it's just the client that isn't an accountant. Is the standard access, or might be occasionally a company admin, but
this is designed. This is QuickBooks Advanced, isn't it? These changes are happening in.
No, that one's happening at Essentials Plus and Advanced, so it's across the whole board. Again, that standard or the in-house accountant can be assigned as the approver on bills. Or any approval flows. So it's not just advanced, it's sort of the advanced roles are slightly more tailorable, aren't they? Slightly more. But it's because they're all using the same underlying database, aren't they? Underlying architecture. It does say we may bring in new roles to replace the discontinued ones, whatever they may be. So the discontinued ones being standard no access, well, that's already replaced anyway. And it would just be a custom role where it's say you can do both supplier and customers together.
Yeah. If that in-house accountant one was in a QuickBooks Advanced, I completely understand, because that's what they're gunning for, isn't it? These bigger companies that probably have an internal team.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more the outside accounting firm is more management accounting, CFO kind of role, along with annual accounts production or sign off of the accounts made within internally.
Yeah.
But it seems surplus to requirements to make it available to standard and plus as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're going to touch it. There's not too much differential between advanced and plus yet. There's little bits, nothing too like groundbreaking. The interesting thing on this release, by the way, is for people who've already been assigned those roles, so basically everyone that's already in QuickBooks, they're not going to change.
So they've grandfathered rights, have they?
It says for existing users who've been assigned these roles, the experience will function as before. So this is basically only for new users.
Yeah.
And new people and new clients you're setting up on QBO. So imagine if you've got a load of old licenses, they're all going to have the old roles in. That you're going to be, you've got some licenses you've bought. They might potentially already have the old roles and not new roles.
That'll be an interesting look into it, won't it?
Or if you go to edit the role, it won't let you resave it. You have to choose someone new. But there's the advanced ones, aren't they?
The ones I'm showing up on screen are, you kind of get it, right? Because one, it makes the upgrade path so much easier going forward, doesn't it? So if you do go from Plus to QuickBooks Advance, now they're kind of more streamlined. Their roles are going to make it easier, and the fact that they're not forcing people out is probably a good thing as well, because that would just cause
it would cause a nightmare for everyone.
Yeah.
Like 1,000 clients on QBO phoning you up and going, "My users stopped working."
Exactly.
I don't want to deal with that.
No.
Yeah. Actually, like I say, as you upgrade to advanced, move those users over, but and be a bit more granular, isn't it? Advanced.
Exactly.
A little bit more granular at the moment.
Yeah. Though, I can see where this is going. I can see the update. I think what you've mentioned there, although it sounds complicated, actually probably does simplify it, doesn't it? Like the roles probably make more sense than what they were now. Was it standard all access, standard limited?
Yeah, it didn't really say what it did.
Yeah.
And didn't actually let you do everything you should have been able to do in that module.
Exactly.
The one that's always missing is the reports only. I used to love that user.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great.
There is a view company reports in advance.
Yeah.
But it's weird how that's
not a plus.
Yeah, which odd, isn't it, that it's not there?
Yeah.
Just make sure I haven't missed it. But yeah, last time I checked, it
definitely
wasn't
got
there.
removed, I think, at some point.
I mean, that reports only one was great for people who basically.
We used to give it to clients all the time. Oh no, just for clients who didn't get involved in the data, or you didn't want them posting something.
you don't want them going in and breaking it, right? Like,
yeah, those ones.
But yeah, from
deleting and voiding stuff because it didn't make sense to them.
Oh, see, that one has, because it must be an old license, but the new licenses don't.
The new licenses don't have it, yeah. Which is odd.
Yeah,
but it shows the grandfathered ones are still there, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so, that was the changes to that, really.
Update. Yeah, we like that. We like the fact that our updates come in, and
it's just streamlining the how many times you gone in to go, oh, what access do we need to give this person? I'm not quite sure.
There's definitely something happening in the report. This is one thing we know that's like we've not come privy to through the Accounting Council and everything. So we're open to talk about it, speculate, tinfoil hat moment. But there seems to be something with the report starting to change a little bit. There's some little things there. Fingers crossed. That means that we're going to get an opportunity to be much more granular than we can, because it does need that, right? Like, especially in advance.
If the plan with advanced is to be mid-market, everything in mid-market is those granular, down to like specific. Okay, great. We've got an accounts payable manager role. I want an accounts payable junior role. They're only allowed to raise purchase invoices. That's it. That's all they ever see. They log into QuickBooks. All they have is one button that says bill. That's at mid-market. That's what you're going up against.
Yeah, and you also need to say what customers and suppliers they can see or can't see, right? And the real big one is what bank accounts they can and can't see.
Bank accounts they can't see. What as you said, which customers they can see. Then that comes down to all those like new custom fields that you can start using to group your customers and slice and dice your data, and it all comes down to that, really.
Yeah, it's definitely needed, isn't it? They definitely need to figure that aspect out. Like you said, just to compete. And just that idea of just doing the banking one, well, that opens it up to a lot more accountants who are going to use it more for their practice, right? Because that can be a barrier of entry at the moment. You don't want your own supply, your own staff seeing payroll coming out or anything like that. But if you gave them access to maybe one account that they can see, that's an expense account or whatever it's going to be, just opens it up for them, doesn't it? So yeah. Fingers crossed.
Differentiating themselves between the competition as well, if they have that, because that's a big thing with the other people in that small. I need to give access to these people on the one beginning with X. Oh, I can't do that because they see everything.
Yeah.
And it's differentiating themselves away from that, isn't it?
Yeah. And hopefully don't go the way that Free Agent went, where they just made it so complicated with all these different numbers and everything else.
We've been around long enough. Sage 50 had that and still does.
It did. Yeah.
Every single button you can turn on and off. And we've talked about it many times before, but that's what it needs basically in advanced.
It does, to be able to compete, doesn't it? Yeah. 100%. So Next update. This update is all about. I actually quite like this update. I think it came out of left field because I don't think anyone knew this was coming. But now, if I go to bank transactions and I go into the categorized area, so transactions are already in QuickBooks, already there, already done and dusted. Normally, if you have something in here you want to change, you'd undo it. That will then take the transaction out of categorize and put it back to full review, and you can amend it as your heart's content. Well, what about the idea now that if I wanted to tick this box here and tick this box here, for example, not only do I have the batch options of undoing, which we've had for ages, but we now have the edit option as well. So from here, we can edit, go in, change the supply name if we want to, change the type of transaction, change the account, change the class, change the location, all the way from here. You pair this with the filter functionality that we have in here, with the dates functionality, with the search functionality. If your clients accidentally put BT to the wrong place, you just type the word BT in, click on them all, and change them straight away. Now, I know as accountants, we're probably sat there going, yeah, but we just use reclassify transactions for that. Why would we want to use anything else? I get that, but your clients don't have access to that one. This is an opportunity for your clients to be able to clean the data up, get, make fast changes, whatever they need to do without leaving it. What do we think? We thumbs up, thumbs down?
Why have we only got the bulk option to edit? Why can't I just go in? Because at the moment, I've got to undo a single transaction.
No, you can jump into any transaction, can't you? You can just click on expense and you're in that transaction, update it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not as obvious to the user. I would say it needs to be, action needs to be edit or undo.
2 buttons. Edit / on. Yeah. I get, if you're doing a single one, it's not as clear. Yeah.
I mean, this new bit's not clear at all until you start clicking in, but I suppose that's just training, isn't it? That's awareness. That's pushing people to understand it.
Yeah.
But can't you see from a client point of view how
do? Because they've got 2 options in that action field in other, like on the invoice tab. So if you go to sales and invoices, you've got
that.
Yeah. That's the functionality you need. That you need that visibility that you can edit from there, because for however many years we've had to undo to edit.
Yeah, true.
So you need to now remind us that we can edit from this screen. We don't have to undo and then edit and then republish. Actually, we can just edit from that screen, like view and edit. Like, yeah.
If they gave you a category option, would you be happy? So you could just do it directly from that screen, like we do here.
Even happier.
Yeah.
Directly from the bank. Because realistically, that's what you're changing, right? You might have to change the VAT side of things, but that's probably more of batch actions, right? And clients don't necessarily change the bank, but actually the category is quite important because not a lot of people know about the fact that you can go in here and batch edit these as well, where you can go in batch actions, categorize selected and change them all there. That can be really powerful for, cleaning up client ledgers and stuff where you've got clients posting things here, there and everywhere. You just go in and, all the Apple ones, let's put them to the right place, or the so-and-so ones, let's put them to the right place.
We're just making it, I don't know the word, just unifying everything, isn't it? Making it all look the same. That's what needs to be happening.
Yeah. Where at the moment it's kind of a hit and miss, depending on what area you're in, what you can and can't do. So
yeah.
But I absolutely love this idea. Like, we're ticking this here, we're going in here, we're ticking those buttons, we're pressing this edit, and all of them are, I don't know. You shouldn't have claimed any of them, so they're all going to director's loan now. You know what I mean? Like, that's so much quicker and so much easier than what it was before.
Does it let you do that in already filed VAT periods? So, on the bulk editing tool, it gets really upset if you try changing something that's already in a VAT period that's been filed.
Yeah, it lets you do it because it will just put it in exception.
I mean, admittedly, you just moved that to your director's loan account. It's not asked you to change your VAT.
Well, that is true, actually. Very good point. In fact, can I change my VAT?
I don't think you can.
No.
You're so close.
Come on.
Okay, that's where reclassify transactions still has a place then, right? Because you can change your VAT.
But from there, if we're going to change those kind of details, then we should be able. What's the point in me editing the transactions here if it is like director's loan account? When I may as well have just reclassified it because I'm going to have to change the VAT. So they should have just given us the VAT option.
Yeah,
here.
as accountants, that's what we're going to continue doing, right? This is more for clients because then now they've got an option to be closer to reclassification without having to pay for advance. Because to me, reclassification is still one of the big reasons to jump to advance, isn't it?
So does this devalue to a certain degree the jump up to advance for reclassification?
It does, but it's a really steep asking price to move people to advance just for reclassification, isn't it? Yeah. You've got to have deep pockets to justify reclassification
price for that.
Just for that one feature. I'm saying, like, if that's all you move into all you move into advance for is just for that, seems a little bit harsh, right? So at least this way,
it's a watered down version, isn't it?
Yeah. So, oh no, wait, you can change them here, which I've never noticed before because that is not obvious.
Because you can't see the drop down box until you hover over
it. I have never seen that in my life, and you can just change it there.
There's just
screen, is it?
Some slight tweaks to UI and functionality, like even a warning saying you're moving this to this category, and we know the default VAT is different.
Yeah.
Do you want to change the VAT as well?
Things like that, isn't it?
Yeah, because if this is for the user, then actually they're the ones that probably won't think, "That's director's loan, actually, my bad." Oh, we're still claiming the VAT, are we? Oh, maybe,
Okay.
Maybe this is actually making things worse rather than better.
Yeah, potentially it could be.
Yeah.
Mainly the VAT side. That's the problem.
Yeah,
it's a worry, isn't it? I'm asking a lot here, and I don't know if this is the right answer. I suppose we could check it, but unless it's, if you go to your chart of accounts and you've set your default to no VAT, then when you change it to director's loan, it changes it to no VAT for you. I can't imagine that's the case, but
it shouldn't let you post it. It should go, hang on, you can't do this. That's what it should be doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So you can change your thing here if you want to. Oh, we're learning. Okay. All right. I like it. I like it a lot. It just, it came out of nowhere though, didn't it? Like,
great idea, poor execution.
Kind of, It's almost like they're so close, but yeah.
It's almost like if they actually ran this bit by the Accounting Council, we might have told them this.
But also, just so you know, that's not live in every set of data.
Not yet. It'll be on a phased rollout.
Yeah, and I can't imagine this one will be too long to get out there. So going from there.
Considering some of the things they do run by us, which is completely and utterly pointless. It has no impact on the accountant-client relationship. For them to not have run that one by us seems like a bit of a boo-boo.
I think this is a global change. That's why, though, isn't it? This was a hit US first. We're just lucky to get the update sooner rather than later, because a lot of the updates
that might be the reason why the VAT thing doesn't appear, because the VAT's different.
Because they don't care about VAT, do they?
But they should still be going, right, this is happening. How does this impact the local area of the UK?
Agreed. But I guess the downside to that is that we'll have one of the other updates that happened not so long ago, where items like the Google Drive integration takes forever to appear because we're having to wait for the localization to come through. So it's hard, isn't it? Like, which is the right way of doing it? Do you just give us the toys now so we can then break them into
things?
Yeah. Or do we not get the toys and have to wait? And in some cases,
you make it really easy for us to commit VAT fraud, or do you consider
the VAT error checker?
The
VAT error checker is there to solve all these issues, right? In theory, potentially.
In theory, yeah.
Maybe. I believed that myself when I said it. Honest. Okay, so the other update, just so everyone's seen it, upload from Google Drive into the receipt capture area. So receipt capture's had some nice little updates lately. It's given us opportunities to remember if it's a bill or a receipt, so we can put it through there. It now knows that gives us opportunity to split transactions as well if we want to. So we can now split the bill down here and push that through. Great place, by the way, if anyone wants to go and get some nice Lebanese. But it will remember now bill versus receipt, and you can push that through and put that to the right place. But now if you want to bring data in here quickly, we can upload from computer, which we always had to. We can customize emails and send that over, or we can upload from Google Drive. So we've got those options to come through.
Yeah,
Is that a good thing, bad thing?
It's an option, but it's not the only cloud-based software out there. Like,
no, but there's a relationship in there between Google and Intuit,
Yeah,
which
there
I
is.
assume why it's there.
Yeah, I think we need to be given the option to plug in whichever cloud storage solution our firm decides to use, because it's not like Google's got the dominating market share. They've got a share of the market.
I mean, in an ideal world, you just want to put it straight in, don't we?
But I get why you give someone Apple Pay, because that is in the majority of your market sewn up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good first step, but I hope that doesn't mean that that's all they're doing.
Yeah, there needs to be a lot more done to this. They're still, way behind, like the purpose-built apps for receipt capture, aren't they?
Yeah, but they're not trying to sell this. This isn't an add-on feature. This isn't
Yeah.
But
I
there's
think anything they do with this is a bonus.
There's a little things you expect it to do, it just doesn't quite do, isn't there? Still.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got this as well. We've got our multiple. We can do multiple transactions now, so we've been given this feature where we can add things in. So it's you're right, it's nowhere near, but I suppose what we compare it against, right? If we compare it against the dedicated apps, it's nowhere near. But when, again, the way I always look at it is if I show this to a client, they think it's magical. Like they're just blown away.
If you're going from nothing to something.
Yeah.
But little things like that Al Misar one you just pulled up. You expect the supplier name to go into the supplier box.
Yeah,
it's little things like that.
And you expect when you select the supplier, then it to update what the category should be based on what I've already told.
That's the little things I'm talking. They're the little things that you'd expect it to be doing. I don't expect it to be doing a million different things, but just those little things would be nice.
Yeah,
because you might have got the basic.
Yeah.
I mean, the one I'd love is if it interacts with rules. I think if it interacts with rules, yes, it's down to us then to be a bit more on top of it all and everything else. But if it can interact with rules, I think that would help us, right? The securities.
Leading on then into that advanced mid-market thing, this has to be powerful for mid-market. Yes, it might be a slightly different version of this, but it has to be able to do a lot more.
Yeah, 100%.
And if it was in the same tier, if it was as good as those dedicated tools, if they had a free version, which is this, and they had a paid for version, which is on par with all the other tools, and price was on par, then actually, we'd probably look at it.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't mind paying for it. And I've said this at many an accounting council meeting, saying, if you made it better than a minimum viable product, we would consider paying for it. Like, because it saves me having to pay someone else for it. Like the reporting, if it was as good as SIF Analytics or Futurely or whoever you're using for your reporting, it meant I didn't have to spend money there. I'd happily give that bit of money to QuickBooks.
It comes back to what I last week.
Never get past a minimum viable product.
Of using a million apps to get to one place, aren't they?
Yeah.
But we're having to because of various things.
Yeah, 100%.
App overload or something like that.
Yeah. App fatigue as well, isn't there, going through? Charlie, you just jumped at the right time. How are you finding How are you finding the receipt capture now that they've implemented the changes you've asked for?
In QuickBooks, see, they did it too late. They've done it too late, mate. I am so
excited. The champion of receipt capture's given up. He's moved on.
I've moved on. Yeah. I decided to move on because I was boring the what's-its of Johan by talking about it all the time.
Right.
And but Apron have solved the problem. And they're doing it at a sensible price. So I can't be bothered. I mean, look, I've not played around with it because I'm using Apron. I can absolutely see that if I didn't have 20 clients on Apron, where you hit the cap of £199 a month for receipt capture if you're not using the payment solution subscription fee, if that makes sense. So just, I mean, for people who don't understand what I'm saying, that the if you're paying for payments, you pay £29 or £49 a month for payments in Apron, you get receipt capture for free. If you're just using their basic free subscription, pay £1.20 per payment in Apron, then they charge you £5 a month per client company for receipt capture, but it's capped at 199 quid for the accountant. So once you've got 20 clients on there, the 21st to the 500th client are free. So if you don't already have 20 clients and you're paying £5 a month, and you've got a fee sensitive client and there are only very few transactions, then sure, I would use receipt capture in QuickBooks. But Apron makes it so easy that if I'm already at 20 clients, so every new one is effectively free, or the client doesn't care about £5 a month, then I would use Apron every time.
And we showed that last week, didn't we? Last month when we showed the deep dive of it. It's and it's getting better. Already they've implemented updates to it. So
and they just launched something very nice for 0 users, and hopefully that new feature will come in for QuickBooks users soon.
I mean, whatever.
I only mentioned the opposition because they're not trying to, the same features will come for QuickBooks. That's the only reason I mention it.
Exactly right. Cool. Wasn't there a couple of minor updates to Advance as well, Simon? Because I'm just worried about you need to leave soon, don't you? So
I do need to go. There's updates to deferred income and revenue recognition, so you can now backdate, which was horrible before. So wait, I don't know if have you been through this before? I don't know.
We showed it when it first came live, but let's see if we can backdate it.
Say for instance, this one here, we've created a new invoice, and your invoice date isn't January, but is dated April, for instance. But your service date is dated 1st of January. It will now backdate and do all the journals for you, which is always a good thing. So that's one good sign. And then the other thing is, in revenue recognition, you can edit the amounts. So if you do edit, you could do like a large upfront fee, and then it will manually work, or it will automatically work out the amounts split over the relevant months. But you can also then do zeros in months, and it's quite a clever way of doing milestone billing if you really wanted to, and split everything when you're actually doing the work. Just do recognize, and also you can do that as well. Recognize the whole lot now. And that's the kind of little changes. Obviously, there's more and more coming, I think.
Let me ask you guys a question on this. Is there anything? So I've got a client, for example, who has a number. Some of his clients he bills the same fee every month. Others he might have 9 or 12 months worth of billing agreed up front, and up front they've agreed how much. It might be £3,000 one month, £1,200 the next, £8,000 the next, and it's all agreed up front. Now what I tend to do is I just keep a spreadsheet log, and then once a month when I do the invoicing for them, I look at the spreadsheet and manually create all the invoices. But would you find another way of dealing with that by doing that? Just the revenue recognition thing made me think about that, but there is not something related to that.
You'd need like milestone billing or something where you, in projects, basically, is where you want it. And say, I want to bill this on these dates, and it automatically raises invoices for you. That's something they need to think about if they're going to go into mid-market.
But it's not there at the moment. There's no way of doing that at the moment, is there?
Not unless you're doing like we've just shown there, where literally you've got to think about it and start. You could edit it and just kind of put those in there and kind of chunk it out and do it that way.
And the only other way to do it is to raise your invoices and date them way in advance.
You can do that, of course.
No, ideally you want them to be like like a bit of a milestone billing. To be fair, from your
You
project.
I know
know
they
what?
are asking about projects, and they are asking about what's the need for revenue recognition within projects. So could be a TBC on that one and see what happens.
Milestone billing, it doesn't have to be for mid-tier either. Like, how many building companies are now working based on milestone? Like, if we deliver this, this, and this by this date, we're going to invoice you this.
But that's more estimates, and that's already there, right? Like you can do for them ones, you could send the estimate out of 100k, and if you hit a milestone, you invoice them for 30k. Like that's already there. That's functionality that's there, right? So
it's tracking those things, though, isn't it? And automating those things. So in my
Yeah.
project, I've got my list of tasks, and it can be right. When you get to task 5, right, then do the next bit.
What it needs to track, I guess, for that is if your project total is 100k, I've hit this milestone, I need to invoice 30. You want to be able to look at and see somewhere there's still 70 left to bill, that it's tracking the balance that's left from the project. So you don't accidentally overbill or think, oh, I've still got another 80 left to bill, when in fact you've only got 70 left to bill.
It's one of the areas I think that projects could be doing a bit of love. I think.
But they are opening up the API to projects. That was announced last month, so that could open it up, right? That could give us options if they're going to go to the point of putting APIs in, like we reported. Then surely that means there's some bits to come to connect those APIs and make it worthwhile, right?
Probably to more like it'd be good for those project management add-ons that give you more of that stuff, being able to integrate, because that's where people struggle on things like Xero, is going from their standard, their additional add-on, because projects in there is really bizarre and kind of separate from the whole accounting platform. This is actually involved in that, and then add-ons actually are making your financial sense. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, is there even a connection that you could have, like your practice manager as an accountant, that could go in there, and you could have it when you've done one piece of work, it'll automatically put this in, and you can revenue recognition at the right time and all that sort of stuff. I mean, if they want us to think about how we're going to sell it to our clients, we need to use it ourselves, right? So if we can get it connected to things like that, that's an opportunity for us, right? To say, well, this is working, that's not working, this is how it works in reality, and go through from there. So yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, the fact that it's in product, it's updating, it's there.
Yeah, it's a good start. I think then just roll it out to like things like prepayments and do it the other way around as well.
Yeah, so 100%. Yeah. Was there anything else that you were impressed with some of the updates? Do you say the batch invoicing? That was one thing you saw, wasn't it? Is that right?
Yeah. So you can, as well as your batch invoicing, wherever your screen is in there, when you do multiple invoices, you can now, if you go under action where it says create, you can at the top. You modify and delete. So a bit like your bank screen that you had, Johan. You can it takes you to that reclassify thing, but it's more in the batch way than it's like old Sage 50. It's basically what it is.
Yeah. Does it give you that nice memories then? Is that what you're saying?
It's giving me nice memories because you used to just have shortcut keys and you can do about 1 million invoices in about an hour. But yeah, having that there is quite nice. And you can see the bits there that are coming soon to that as well, which you just saw. And like all your custom fields are in there as well. So any of your new custom fields that you might have created are in that modify list now as well, which they weren't before. Be that new dates, text fields, whatever you want to have in there, they're in there now.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
And they've made this really Excel friendly and spreadsheet friendly, so you can replicate this, put it all in there, copy and paste, and it will just paste in nicely, which is good to see. I know you've got spreadsheet sync if you want to, but not everybody likes spreadsheet sync, right? Like there's just having a chance, and like you said, for those sort of clients who would use this, most of the time they've kind of got it generated from somewhere else, and that kind of information comes in through there. So yeah, good to see. It's nice that it already. That was the one thing I had when I looked at it last time was it was quite buggy when I first saw it, but now it seems to be better, and even this new layout's much better way of doing it. This is the layout I mean for the Excel, so you can kind of create it in Excel, CSV and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, it's much better than it used to be.
Yeah, and here's your shortcuts to start doing things that and that power hungry and power, what do you call it, one. So yeah, we're liking it. We're liking it a lot. Was there anything else you saw in the
That was it from Advanced. I think they're obviously working on a lot that we can't talk about.
Yeah,
probably my call this morning earlier. So I think there's lots planned before the end of the year. They, Intuit own a lot of other things they could put into this, so it'd be interesting if they come into here. That will make it a much more powerful solution, because actually there is not enough in it yet to justify the jump from Plus to Advanced.
Yeah,
because things like the approval, like the workflows and stuff, you could get Approval Max for whatever it is, £25 a month. That's still less than Advanced. I mean, unless you go direct at the moment, and yeah.
Yeah, and I know it's not the same thing, but we've kind of got an approval workaround now as well with the new bills area, and the fact that we kind of get the unpaid versus reviewed area for review. So for some clients, this is all they ever need, right?
But when they have the advanced workflows and they want to say, right, okay, you've assigned it to this location, it needs to go to this person to be approved, and all that sort of stuff.
That's when the power comes in.
That's when the power comes in.
Yeah. And that's where you don't mind paying it says pay bills now. It's interesting. That's when you don't mind having that extra, paying the extra for that one. Cool.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Awesome.
I mean, clearly the direction of travel on Advanced seems to be very positive. Seems to be going in the right direction.
I think they want to take that mid-market.
Yeah.
There was a gap there, like 2-3 years ago. There was a big gap there, wasn't there? Or it was the gap was filled by legacy desktop systems. We were in the know. We've seen enough. There's lots of names coming around that mid-market space now that are fully cloud-based, and I think they will get there. They've got enough. It's just there's a lot of work to get there to some of those systems.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing from American accountants, because a lot of American accountants are still using QuickBooks Desktop for certain types of clients. Though I think I can't remember what the end of life is for that product now, but it's very close.
It's got a sunset date, though, hasn't it?
Which is quite a good segue.
Yeah. But what I'm starting to hear now is that the way that Advanced is going, with an inventory tool like SOS Inventory, for example, pretty much does everything that they were missing from QuickBooks Desktop.
That's the bit I was saying.
Enterprise Desktop, even Enterprise Desktop, by the way.
Yeah, but then obviously QuickBooks Intuit bought Trade Gecko 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Called it QuickBooks Commerce. Great, it's in the States, works with QBO perfectly. Put that in the UK in Advanced, and you've got all your shop fronts coming in. You've got your stock in there, and that would make it so much more powerful. And you haven't got to worry about a Dex Commerce or an A2X or a one of those things. But you've got and you should have them. And
I don't know why it's not in there. Yeah,
well, it was.
They also bought a really good inventory company about 7 years ago, the name of which I can never remember. But they paid a lot of money for it, and it just quietly disappeared.
Yeah,
it was.
And they bought one SaaS as well. So, they've got the options. They just need to bring it all together, right?
Yeah.
And the e-commerce platform in the US looks really, really good. So one day we'll get to play with it. But yeah, you said a good segue, because we've got a fancy new tool, haven't we, for seeing QuickBooks Desktop reports?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I won't share my screen, but what it allows you to do. So where QuickBooks Desktop has been sunsetted, however you want to call it, killed, and clients who missed the boat. Quite, there is a few clients who just ignored every single email and phone call and went, "Yeah, we don't care. It's not going this bit." And then lost the ability to press the button in product that said convert to QuickBooks Online, and don't want to use Move My Books or anything like that. There is a tool where you can upload your backup to like an Amazon server, a new online tool. What it allows you to do is upload your backup and just run your reports. And it's almost like QuickBooks Desktop in the cloud, purely as a reports only view. Just runs on AWS.
And is this an Intuit solution or a third party one?
No, can I share my screen? Oh, let's go that.
Can do. There's no bring your data.
Okay. So it's literally like a little. So you just says let's oh, you can't see that page, but yeah, it just loads in like this. It takes a while to load in, as you can see, and you just drag and drop your backup in there.
Nice.
If I show you,
but for people who need that legacy data and stuff, that's what it's all about, right? Like
we've got
they
copies
just
of
need
QuickBooks Desktop in the office, but if you're a client that goes, oh, I really need that P&L report from 10 years ago. Cool, go to here. You have to upload your data every single time. It doesn't save it. It's just a temporary upload.
Yeah, right. But at least they got access to it.
You can just generate your report, and it does. Don't know how. You used to always upgrade your QuickBooks Desktop data to the latest version. And you had that screen that said it was going to take 24 hours, and it took like 5 minutes. You even get that screen that it's updated. It's upgrading your data. So it's clearly just a version of QuickBooks Desktop on an AWS server with report, and it gives you reports only access.
Yeah, because they can pay my books or link my books and everything, and they can bring 3 years or whatever number they want. But a lot of them were affected by COVID anyway, right? So that wasn't the data they were interested in. What they were really interested in was the data before COVID, because that's where they can see trends and whatever they needed. So this is a great solution for them.
So just running those reports, definitely.
Love it.
But yeah, that's that. And it used to be quite buggy, but now it's much better now. Other than being a bit slow occasionally, but that's probably
you can work with slowness if you're not going to be in it day in day out, are you? It is just for the thing. So that's
exactly
it works. Wonderful. All right, final bit of news then is recertification is going live on the 1st of May. Is it 1st of May? Did I just make that date up? It's something of May. It's 1st of May. Yeah, 1st of May. First 300 people who get themselves recerted will get a nice bit of swag. Speaking of swag, I want to know where this monopoly's come from, but we can talk about that at another point. Have you not seen certain people in the industry having a monopoly, QuickBooks monopoly coming through?
No, I'm clearly missing mine.
Yeah, same here. Don't you worry. I'm very, very, very jealous. But from a swag point of view, if you're one of the first 300 people to get yourself recertified, then you will get yourself some amazing swag. I know what's in the recertification. I know the questions because I wrote them today. So yeah, I can't talk too much about it. But yeah, definitely worthwhile going for it. There's some good updates coming your way. And you'll be going through them as we go along. Yeah, and all I can say is it's everyone gets a bit frustrated when recertification comes around. You got to do it that time, but just imagine you had to do it quarterly, and every quarter you got to ask about what fonts you were doing in the world of Xero. So yeah, that's how it is. I must hats off though. Free Agent do a really good recertification. I like theirs. But yeah, we're looking forward to QuickBooks going through. Anyone excited about the recertification, or is excitement the wrong word to use?
Yeah. As long as you go up in the Xero way of you have to recertify, you have to do the videos, and there's nothing new to learn.
Yeah. No, that's unfair. There are no fonts to talk about.
Yeah. I think if you're just watching a video, then it's not. It depends how they structure it, and it's making it relevant, isn't it? Rather than just every 3 months watch a video kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Controversially, I'm actually considering if I'll bother with recertification this year personally, because I just don't use the product enough. Like in any advanced level, like my team will have already got it all scheduled in their diaries to recertify and to redo the certification training. But I have to be honest, I'm sat there going, do I need to? Is that best use of my time? Because it's not stuff that I use in my the only stuff I use QuickBooks for really nowadays is my own firm. The rest of the work's done by the team. I just go in and look at reports normally, and I use a alternative reporting software for it. So I am considering whether it's worth my while.
What about keeping your place in the Find My Accountant and all the rest of it?
That's another thing altogether.
Yeah,
I don't have single leads from there at all anyway.
I'm just like, do I need to for the amount I use QuickBooks nowadays? I don't know.
Isn't it more so that you can advise your clients?
Pro advisor listing doesn't we used to get 5 or 6 inquiries a month from the pro advisor listing. We've not had anything in a year.
I mean, we still do,
So-
so we're doing something all right. But yeah, maybe it's just more
Right.
saturated. You are in Edinburgh though, like that. It's got to be a more difficult place to
Oh, I'm the
win,
top
right?
top ranked person with 40 odd reviews, and like it's. I just don't think there's traffic going to the Pro Advisor directory anymore.
Yeah.
I think they've hidden it so well now that people just don't go to it.
It's hard to find, isn't it?
They've
Yeah.
saturated, haven't they? Yeah.
Like it's hard to find for those of us that are looking for it. Never mind those that aren't looking for it.
Or trying to beat you on it. I mean, we try to have it not as individuals, but as the firm go on there.
Oh, you can't do that.
That
was
would be useful, right?
No, that's what we used to do. We used to just overwrite a thing, and now it's a nightmare.
And now, because you need a passport to prove that you are.
Prove who you are. I'm like, well, no.
Yeah. So
In fairness to the passport, though, that was because people like me used to just duplicate myself around everywhere. So
every
I'd
postcode there's
rather
an error.
get no leads than salespeople using it to sell me their app.
True.
So it swings and roundabouts.
Or business or accounting coaches using it to sell me their services.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. Who was it that used Zero last
There you
few
go.
years
So
ago?
Cheers, Simon.
cheers, guys. See you all next
Thank
month.
you, Simon.
Thank you.
See you, Simon.
Yeah, I don't like now they've got rid of the pro advisor listing, so it's not so publicly easily found, and the lack of usability, the lack of the amount I use QuickBooks, I don't know that it's worth my while. Like it's great for my team to keep their skills up to date with QuickBooks,
but again,
I think
isn't it?
QuickBooks made the leading benefit for me as a firm owner, was to be discovered on the pro advisor listings. And that's now so buried that even I can't find it when I'm looking for the bloody thing. Like how anyone else is meant to find it when they're not looking necessarily is beyond me. So yeah, I'm just, I don't think like we've had no leads from it in 12 months. Yet I've got the highest ranked profile in Edinburgh. So it's like, well, actually, is it worth a couple of hours of my time to sit through the certification training and the test? I don't know.
I see. The only counter I've got to that is you're more on top of it for your clients, aren't you? You've got the opportunity to let them know.
My team will all resit it. Like my team will. It's all mandated
clients as well, right? Like there is that opportunity to go. Oh, you actually should be using this now because it's going to save you so much more time than what you were doing before. Potentially, that's what the idea behind it is, isn't it? But yeah. Cool. I think that's it. I think that's everything that's come through. Thankfully, there were some new updates that we could talk about and bring that to light. Charlie, was there anything? Oh, actually, Charlie, there was one quick one from you, wasn't there? You were talking about some hoo-ha of the reporting world.
Yeah. This is to do with the what do they call it? Modern view on reports.
Yes.
Which when they launched it a few months ago and told us we were getting rid of the old reports and the old classic view and having the modern view, the biggest, well, there's a number of things that they did with the modern view. Is the reason they did it, first of all, is because they're having to rebuild the entire back end reporting platform because it's so old now it can't cope with the number of users, the number of data, and all the rest of it. They had to rebuild it. That was the reason for doing it. Of course, they could have rebuilt it looking exactly the same as it was before on the new platform, but they've decided to quote unquote improve it. So the main thing that they did, which makes some sort of sense, is instead of hiding the customization, the filters and what columns do you want, all that kind of stuff behind a customize button, there are separate little buttons across the top of the screen. Yeah. So I guess that makes some sense, particularly for people who are new to it, that they can look at the screen and go, oh, I can see I can change the columns or I can filter by this, rather than looking at a button they might never look at. So I don't have a problem with that. I think there are some extra filters and things you can do now you couldn't do before, but I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, there's a few extra ones, isn't there?
Yeah. But the big problem with it was the way that the report looks. The old report was nicely laid out. It wasn't cluttered. The data, I mean, well, this is an even newer version of it, which looks slightly better than it did before, because here you can see, if you look under Alliance Insurance, you've got all the different, 8, 9 rows. They're all close together. It's not wasting screen space. When they first launched the modern view, there was massive space between each row. There was a horizontal line across the screen between each row. And it meant that instead of, look, just where we are now, there's what, 20, 25, whatever it is, rows I can see on the screen there. In the previous modern view, you'd have half the number, if that, maybe a third of the number, because there was so much space. And for me, I want as much data on the screen as possible at one, because then I can just quickly glance at a report and look for an anomaly without scrolling constantly, and I can see very, very quickly. If my eyesight's bad and I wanted bigger text, well, Control+ on the keyboard, and you zoom in. I don't need the software to force me into big text and force lots and lots of white space. I don't know. So they've improved the modern view. They have left the classic view available for slightly longer. It's still got an end date. I can't remember what it is.
30th of May.
Oh, it's 30th of May. Okay, so it's still pretty close. So it's only, what, 5 weeks away. There was something I saw in the US where the guys behind WriteTool, which is a web browser extension I've mentioned before on this podcast, which is a fantastic tool. Look it up, WriteTool. Look it up for those who want to know about it. It's a very, very nice tool to use in QuickBooks. Works within the browser, and they were asking Intuit if the old URL, if you bookmark the old URL of the classic view, would that still work for a while after May the 24th? In other words, were they simply hiding? And you're saying no. Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately not, because that whole the legacy system's being taken away. That's the point.
Oh, sure, but whether or not they were initially just taking away the link to it, but the URL would still work for another few months. It sounds like maybe it won't, but yeah. But I mean, the screen you've got there now is actually, that's actually a nice layout.
Yeah.
I mean, does it have a mass compress expand? So can you, with one click, compress all of the, Alliance into one, Apple into one, Ash into one, with one click?
Yeah, so collapse all there. Boom.
Are they? Yeah, great. Yeah. So
the annoying thing about that, though, it doesn't give you the balances, which I think is a misstep. Really, we want the total for Alliance Insurance, right? That's
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the total of one of those 3 invoices, but the total is £4.50. It's like, okay, don't care about that. So that would be useful. You're right.
Yeah. So I feel like it's definitely far better. Like you said at the beginning, there was so many glaring issues with it. It's definitely much more stable. There's options for it. There are new functionality, especially as an advanced user. I can now go and jump in and do a pivot table now that we couldn't do before. So there's little things like that, but it's not perfect.
This feature is only in advanced, though, isn't it? The pivot table.
The pivot table is but this is one of the advantages of having it as this, right? And then from there, and you can jump into chart view. You can put KPIs in now, all that sort of stuff. But again, that's advanced only that's there. So yeah. We will see. Right, I think that's it. I think we've shown all of the updates coming through. Hopefully next week we'll have some other updates. Keep an eye out as well on our socials, because we're looking to go live at a different time going forward, just to make it better and easier for everyone. Paul Johan's got back-to-back live streams at this point in time, so yeah, we can't be having that.
Paul Johan's not worked out how to do tonight's live stream yet, so I'm gonna have to crack on.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah. That's one major issue, isn't it? Charlie, anything you want to plug, promote, push? Go for it. The floor is yours.
I've just, as usual, for anybody who wants to join my Facebook group for QuickBooks Pro Advisors, look for, I forgot what it's called on Facebook, but look for QuickBooks QBOA. I think you just search for QBOA UK, QuickBooks Online Accountant UK within Facebook, and you'll find the group.
Yeah, sounds good. Jan, anything you want to push, promote, talk about? I mean, you're going live in X amount of time.
Not tonight. I'm going to go work out how to go live to the Client Engager community now that Facebook's changed the rules on us all.
Annoying. We talk about that more. Ask the Accountant that goes live 8:30 a.m. every single Monday morning. Cheers, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for everyone in. Apologies we haven't answered questions in the chat. So Karen categorizing, yeah, exactly right. When it comes to the banking, when it comes to the receipt capture, there definitely needs to have a way of being able to remember and stuff like that. It would just make things easier. Or give us rules, whatever going to work. And Ariona says hello to us all in what's it called in Instagram. So hello, Ariona. Right, everybody. Speak to you all soon. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you all next time for next QuickBooks Labs. Cheers, bye.
Bye.
As an accountant, I've got something to say. I'd like to introduce you to a whole new way to help small business clients. It's easy as 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. QuickBooks Online. Accounting you can customize. Just sit back and relax. It works with over 300 apps. It can sync up with
Client Engager,
PayPal or
NetTracker,
Shopify, and with
Gold Cardless, get paid easily. Cresco,
you'll get paid instantly.
Smooth,
Labs tracks your
funding options.
QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Online. Can save money and time.
QuickBooks Labs.